Hi, Kufla here. Um, as a couple people know, if you've seen my videos and whatnot, and I spend a good chunk of my time watching videos on YouTube, and I ran across one from a user that I was actually warned by a couple other YouTubers about, by the name of shockofgod, and he released a video. Let's see, what's that title again? The video that atheism doesn't want you to see. So I figured that I would do a video response to that, which means that I'm basically doing a video response to what you've said, shockofgod. Um, I watched your video, um, and frankly, a lot of the things you said really don't strike me as being particularly unbiased. I mean, I know you're trying to present a case here, and you're doing it in the whole shaky cam, webcam pointed at the computer thing, and like I said, and I took a look at the article that you showed from Yahoo, which is true. I mean, the link was there. You've got the link all there and whatnot, and I noted that when you did that, you pointed out that when you showed the best answer, and even showed it on your video, that it was chosen by the asker, who has a asker rating of 3, which basically means about average. 3 out of 5, so it's right dead in the middle, so it's about average. It's also 10 months old. And, going back, looking at a lot of these other things, the ones that you didn't want to show, you said that there's a whole bunch after there. Whole bunch, I think maybe you even said hundreds. I don't know. But I'm seeing other answers, one of 37 other answers. And there's people on here that are asking you to, the person who put up that one that you like so much when they ask that question, why do atheists commit suicide more? One person, a guy by the name of Zero, the first answer on there, asked that you cite the study you're referring to, and then found an edit from people that were all diagnosed with major depression. Another person pointed out that religiously affiliated doesn't mean atheist. You conveniently passed over that. Another guy even pointed out is saying, Stevie M, the third person, I noticed you conveniently omitted the fact that the sample of the group depressed inpatients at a psychiatric clinic. I'm not convinced that the findings generalized to the rest of the population. Okay? In which case, the guy then linked a source that says, for those who quite rightly question a citation, I believe he's talking about a study in December 2004 issue of Psychiatry Online. And then another guy, I mean, this is all with the same guy, Mel, that you liked for his, same guy, Glenn, Glenn S., who's considered a top contributor. And then Mel, who was chosen by, to have the best answer. A guy there just named Incredibly Credible. You have not provided citations, and whilst it might be true, it could be easily explained with an amount of discrimination against atheists that goes on in America. If you want to make this argument, you would have to explain why highly atheist countries like Sweden, Estonia, and Finland have such low suicide rates. So, and let's go a little bit further with this. All right. I found a site just with the Yahoo search engine. When I specified in their suicide rates, it was one of the. Okay. Facts about suicide on the Yahoo search engine. Just do a web search. Go down 5 links, and there will be a link there named Facts About Suicide from a website called righteousintolerance.org. And in that page is a thing that lists some facts about suicide, where it goes intercountry comparisons, interstate providence comparisons, U.S. data, and then what you're getting to, groups, comparison of groups within the U.S. Now, I'm just reading this directly off the page. I'll put a link in the video and stuff. But the comparisons of groups within the U.S., the average suicide rate in the U.S. is about 11 in 100,000 per year. This amounts to 1 completed suicide every 16 minutes. That's not really cool. Okay, between 1 and 2% of all deaths in 1997 were suicide. This compares to 31% from heart disease, 23% from cancer, and 7% from stroke. Okay. Whites commit suicide at a higher rate than African Americans, Asians, and Hispanics. However, in 2007, Hispanic female high school students in grades 9 through 12 reported a higher percentage of suicide attempts, 14%, than their white non-Hispanic, 7.7%, or black non-Hispanic, 9.9% counterparts. Native Americans have a very high suicide rate, between 15 and 34 years, suicide being the second leading cause of death. Older Native Americans commit suicide less often than whites do at the same age. Okay, married folks have a lower rate of suicide than do divorced, separated, widowed, or single people. The rates are at 10 to 14 is per 100,000, 1.6, 15 to 19, 19.5, 20 to 24, 13.6, whites over 85, 65. Okay? About 1 in 3 American teenagers has contemplated suicide. Suicide is the 11th leading cause of death among the entire population. Suicide has been reported as the second leading cause of death amongst teenagers, exceeded only by traffic accidents. However, the suicide rate amongst teenagers is lower than that from older persons, as they have fewer life-threatening diseases. So, thus, the relative few suicides among teens make suicide a leading cause of death. Okay? Alright. Let's see. Young people. Data concerning young homosexuals is somewhat unreliable, since about 1 in 3 teenage suicides is by a gay or lesbian. Since homosexuals represent about 5% of the population, gays and lesbians are greatly overrepresented. Okay, now here's the one, since you're saying that this is with atheism, and besides, just to point out that atheism is not a religion, any atheist will tell you that. And by the way, I'm not an atheist supporter, actually. Well, actually, yeah, I kind of am, because I agree with their right to say what they want to say and free speech. I mean, any of my videos will tell you that I am very big on the First Amendment. But on here about the whole thing with suicide rates, amongst the most common faith groups in the U.S., and you were considering atheism a faith group, Protestants have the highest suicide rate. Roman Catholics are next. Jews have the lowest. Followers of a religion that strongly prohibit suicide, like Christianity or Islam, have a higher suicide rate than those religions that have no strong prohibition, i.e. Buddhism or Hinduism, or atheism can be added to that group. A person is a higher risk of suicide if their parent, close relative, or close friend have taken their own life. Okay, and it does have the references listed here from Doug Martin, Suicide as a Deviant, at www.nwmissouri.edu. Suicide at the library.thinkquest.org. Second leading cause of death amongst teenagers at www.o.mercurycenter.com. Suicide in the U.S. Statistics and Prevention, National Institute of Mental Health at www.nih.nih.gov. And Suicide Facts at a Glance, Center for Disease Control and Prevention, 2009 summer at www.cdc.gov. Right, and this study is actually fairly recent. It is about it's less than a year old. The date that is listed for starting with the US data is the latest data. It was available in 2009, September 10th, precisely, literally 2 days over a year ago. So, I mean, I wanted to point these things out in terms of your video, because I mean, you talk about atheists committing suicide, but all you're showing is this thing from a guy asking a question on a Yahoo group. There's no facts supported in it. There is no sources cited. And also, on top of that, you're claiming that you used to work for a suicide line and that you have a very high rate of no one dying or anything like that. I mean, how do you know? Do you have some facts or anything else that you could use to support that? You don't have to give names either, but like some serious, legitimate numbers. You know, because I mean, I can't, I'll be the first one to admit that there are people that I've talked to that have had suicidal tendencies. And the first thing I did, because I'm not a registered psychiatrist or anything like that, I told them that I felt that the best thing they needed to do was get help, get a therapist to help them out, And your little thing you're saying in there about how atheists have such a high suicide rate and it's dangerous. That one page with all those sites that I was reading off of with the facts and the statistics, and mind you, that was just the 5th one down on a search that had I think a couple thousand links to all sorts of different things just on suicide rate. So, basically my big thing there is there any other source that you can cite besides a resolved question that is particularly biased on top of that? That cites no sources whatsoever. It's just basically glorified opinion. That's basically my thing right there, and just so you know, like I said, I'm an agnostic, okay? And my views on Christianity, religion in general, is that I prefer to make my own path, because I don't agree with a lot of the religions, and I don't know, I've never had any problems with it. I've had my times where I've depressed, but I've never felt the need to go out and just end it all, because I mean, I personally, suicide is a coward's way out. And I think that what you're trying to point out here is, like I said, you have a personal bias that you are using behind religion to back up your claim, and you have no real evidence, you have no sources cited. Let's see some. Thanks for your time.